Have you ever wondered what it's like to travel from Europe to West Africa as a Kenyan? Today I'm taking you with me from Larnaca, Cyprus, all the way to Abidjan in Cote d'Ivoire, also known as Ivory Coast, where I'll be exploring flights, the airports, visa requirements, travel tips, and my first impression of West Africa. Hi everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Indiasi. I am currently in Cyprus and today we're leaving from Larnaca International Airport on the first leg of my West African adventure. I'm headed to Abidjan, one of the biggest cities in Cote d'Ivoire and a cultural hub in West Africa. For the Airbnb, I used the actual Airbnb app for the booking. It was about 250 euros for 3 nights and took about 10 minutes from the airport, so it was really convenient because my trip had been very long and I needed that rest. And it's also the booking I used for my visa application, because for the visa requirements they just need your hotel booking confirmation as well as your return ticket confirmation, and that was it. On the second day, we went to the beach. We wanted to try a few of the local cuisines. So we did, for me, I did aloko. Aloko is basically plantain, but I guess every country has their own way of calling it, I guess. They also have a local dish called acheke that is eaten with stew. So we had aloko, acheke, chicken stew. We also had some fish. I don't remember what it was called because it wasn't the normal tilapia that I was used to. It was a bit big, like we were 4 people and it was still too big for us to finish. We just chilled on the beach the whole day. Then after that we went to the swimming pool for a weekday, I think, which is why the place wasn't so packed. I found it to be pretty chill and the service was a bit slow. I know I have said that I was a bit too tired, but we still needed to go out because I only had 3 days per country, so I needed some time to enjoy the nightlife.
Yeah, I'm tired of shit and the coffee ain't hit yet. Damn, ain't that great. I don't wanna go to work cause my boss is a jerk and I'm not even that paid. I need a change in my life.
So I got dressed and met our friends to take us around to the local clubs, which we still found to be a bit chilled, like too chilled, which they attributed to it being a weekday, but I still don't As a Kenyan, I still don't think that's an excuse to have empty clubs at any time of the week. Like, it should just be busy 24/7.
How you gonna move for what you gonna be? And do you believe you can do anything? But what you gonna do for it? How you gonna move for it? What you gonna be?
But anyway, we went through 3 different locations. We went to the first one, it was a bit empty and the music was down. The second one was more enjoyable to the local environment. As you can see here, someone was singing local music. Then our last destination was a club. Sorry, I can't remember the name, but I just remember there being an entrance fee. I think that was one of the culture shocks I had in West Africa. Most of the clubs have an entrance fee that is not redeemable. So we paid about 20,000 francs. Yeah. We had fun at the last location and we were going home at about 3 a.m. in the morning. Typical Kenyan.
It's me, hello, it's me, I'm that bitch, yeah, yeah. Hello, it's me, hello, it's me, hello, it's me, it's that bitch, yeah, yeah.
Another tip that you should have if you're going to visit West Africa is to learn some basic French, and if you can't, at least have the downloaded version of Google Translate on your phone. It's really gonna help. And on the last day of our trip, we decided to do something touristy, so we went to the museum where they have their local artifacts, historical things. Again, the tour guide is gonna be speaking in French, so unless you're gonna have your Google Translate on 24/7, and have some cash. Abidjan is a very cash intensive city. I needed to visit the ATM quite a number of times and it was very expensive. I remember being charged 3,000 francs, which is about 600 Kenya shillings, for every withdrawal, which was very expensive. Even the entry to the museum was paid in cash. They don't accept card payments, and it is the case in most establishments. They don't accept card payments, so make sure at the airport you change your currency to the local currency. For this West African trip, I was gonna do multiple French-speaking countries, so I didn't mind changing a significant sum to francs. So I changed euros to francs at the airport. And that was it. After the museum, we really didn't have much time because we needed to catch our flight from Abidjan to Accra, and we were almost running late because there was really heavy traffic, and the Ubers are very reluctant to take you to the airport if you've not done an advance booking, and they try to overcharge you, and they take advantage of the fact that you don't understand the local language. I didn't get to explore it as much as I would have wanted to, so I would definitely go back to Abidjan. In as much as it's expensive, it's a really beautiful city. There are other cities that need to be explored in Côte d'Ivoire that I would really like to visit. But my first impressions of Abidjan so far, it's warm. This is just the beginning of my West African journey. My next stop is gonna be Accra in Ghana. If you enjoyed this, like, subscribe, and join me on the next leg. On this video, I'm gonna take you to the second leg of my trip. The first leg was the trip from Cyprus to Ivory Coast. This second leg is gonna be from Ivory Coast to Accra. Oh my guys, are ballers. Yeah, so we did the exchange at the airport and proceeded to get some alcohol at the duty-free section because the last few days had been hectic and we needed to get something off the edge, you know. And then we proceeded to get an Uber. Ubers were readily available. I just ordered a cab from the airport to our Airbnb. We were staying at a very beautiful space in the center of Accra. The area was called East Legon. We got this place actually last minute, so it was actually a surprise to find how beautiful it was. As was done with Ivory Coast, this Airbnb was also booked via the Airbnb app itself. Then we proceeded to split the cash amongst ourselves because we did equal contributions for everything. And then we needed to get ready to go out for the night because we were coming to Ghana just for one day. We were coming for the concert. There was a concert organized by GT Bank and we didn't end up making it, but that is coming up shortly. So I think the thing that we underestimated with this concert was that it was a free concert, and Shatta Wale is a really big artist in Ghana. Most of the people who were coming to the concert were actually coming more for Shatta Wale than Bana because it was a concert in Accra. So we couldn't make it to the concert because the place was full by the time we were getting there. There were even people scaling walls. So we just decided to do something else for the night. And that's how we met some new friends that we made along the way. A few YouTubers. I'm not gonna name drop them because I've not gotten their consent to name drop, but in case I get their consent, I'm gonna tag them before this video goes up.
Two a.m. in the morning. Where are you? In a random country, in December. In December.
Very big. Yeah, you have beaches in Accra. No. There are beaches in Accra. You don't only have beaches. It's not.
So the YouTubers we met took us to the beach, and it was actually a really good night.
That's why every man wants to be cycle. Where will you get that from? Where will you get that from? Where will you get that from?
Like, we stayed at the beach till like 6 in the morning, and we were supposed to check out of the B&B by 11 in the morning. So you can imagine we only had about 4 to 5 hours of sleep before we had to leave again. Yeah, but it was a really, really, really beautiful night. As was the case in Ivory Coast, I liked that we were not charged to access the beach. Like, as long as you were seated at a specific restaurant, we actually ordered food and 2 cocktails for each of us, and we weren't charged anything. We just paid for the food and drinks. Actually, the new friends we made paid for everything, so we didn't. We're just girls, man. So we didn't have any expense for the night. In terms of visa requirements, Ghana is visa free for Kenyans and it's visa free for most Africans and especially the countries in the Commonwealth. So you may just want to check that. So it was easy for us to get into the country, and I used it as my transit point for most of this trip because I entered and exited Ghana like 3 times. Yeah. But Ghana is really a really beautiful country to be in. For this day specifically, we were just in Accra because we were there for 1 night, but I'm gonna come back for a second leg of the Ghana trip because we needed to do Afrofuture Festival, so I'm gonna plug that later as well. Hello. Hey, my French can take a break. Guys, do not visit a French speaking country if you can't speak French. Can't be later. Because I feel like I've maxed out my French and I haven't used it to the best that I can. Yeah, to me struggle. This is a language that I haven't spoken in like 10 years. So I only remember but I've actually done really well. Like for me to remember how to order food, how to speak to a cab guy, how to get directions. Our high school French did well, but I need to have a refresher because and then these people speak so fast. You see how we speak Swahili is how they speak French. So when they're speaking so fast and in a local accent, it's very hard to get a grasp of the words they're speaking. So I've had to use Google Translate in some instances, but it has worked out. Kidogo. It has worked out. Anyway, we got back to our B&B. After surviving on 4 hours of sleep, we had to check out. They were really strict on the checkout time, so we had to really fasten up and we needed to find our bus stop for the next destination, which was gonna be Togo. We were leaving from Accra to Togo by bus. We had lunch and a few drinks before we left. We did a bit of shopping because we weren't sure we were gonna have some time to come back for shopping, so we went to Accra Mall to do some shopping for souvenirs for our friends, and yeah, that's it. I had to try Ghanaian jollof rice because I had to compare it with Nigerian jollof rice. So I'm gonna give my feedback at the end of the Nigeria trip. So this was us having our lunch before leaving Ghana. Then we made our way to the bus stop, and that is where the drama begins. So stay tuned for the next leg of my West African trip. From Accra to Togo by bus, you're gonna want to go to Tudu Terminal. It's not very far from the city center. There are buses there that go directly to Lome, but you have to be there early enough or call for a booking in advance. The mistake we made was that we didn't make any inquiries as to whether the bus would be available at any time of day. So by the time we were getting to the terminal, we were told that the last bus had left at 2 p.m. and the next one is gonna come late in the night. But I felt like it was something they were just trying to get people to pay more cash than they were supposed to pay, because we ended up paying double for someone to secure our seats. But anyway, we made it past the border. There was a taxi, like there are several taxis waiting right after you cross the border, so it wasn't hectic to find one, and you still need to speak to them in French, so I was able to get us a taxi to our booking. This time we used booking.com for our hotel. It was a nice beachfront hotel, very calm, very traditional looking. You can feel the coastal vibe once you get there. From the border to our hotel booking, it was about 10 minutes. It wasn't really far, plus Togo is a very small country and Lome itself is a very small city, so it's easy to get by. Another challenge I had in Togo was that I had bought a global eSIM that wasn't working there. Then I opted for a local eSIM that also wasn't working, so I had to rely heavily on hotel Wi-Fi, and anywhere I went I just needed Wi-Fi because there was nothing I could use my phone with. And you need I feel like lacking an internet connection forces you to have human interactions with people, because then without my phone you can't order a taxi, which means you have to converse with the locals, negotiate your fare. Yeah, so it was an interesting experience being away from the internet, and this was a few days to Christmas. Day 2, we decided to visit Palais de Lomé. Palais de Lomé is their former, presidential palace. It was moved to a different location. So this is an older one that has been converted to some form of a museum. So they have depictions of art and whatnot. But before we got there, we were told that we had to pay in cash. Just like most of the other West African countries, they don't accept card payments, so you have to have cash in hand. At the entrance, there is an entrance fee, which is about 20,000 francs for foreigners. And I think it is higher for people who are not nationals of ECOWAS. It's just that the guy at the gate was assuming that I was Ghanaian, so give me an ECOWAS rate, but it is definitely higher for foreigners. Yeah. One of the things I realized about Togo is that it is a country with a very rich history. It's just that they're not very loud about it. Like, they have good original furniture, good original fabric. You may see fabric out here that is originally Togolese, but think that it is Ghanaian or Nigerian. Just because I feel like Ghana and Nigeria have done a really good job with their marketing, Togo is a bit on the quiet side. So you have to visit the country to understand the origin of their culture, their traditions, their fashion. Yeah. When you get to Palais de Lomé, you'll be given a tour guide who's gonna explain everything that is within the building. They are bilingual, so they speak both English and French. He explained to me that the table I'm looking at is a depiction of the slave trade, and the lines in the middle were representative of the 54 African countries, but in the middle there is a white line which represents the white man, which he explained that the artist who made it understands that white people are the 55th country of Africa, because whatever you do, they're just there. And then there is also a section of music, there is a section of fabric. An interesting story I heard about the fabric is that the women who made the fabric that is in this museum were the first millionaires in Togo, which made them able to buy the first Mercedes-Benz in Togo. So the first German machines in Togo were owned by women. That's why they were given the name Nana Benz. How cool is that? So the thing with the palace is that it's all depictions of art of what people imagine the old times to be. So in this case, this is a depiction of what the artist imagines clubbing and partying in the 60s was like. It was really cool because the room is soundproof and it has all these disco lights. There is a collection of music. There are headphones that you can listen to. It also had it's kind of a live experience that you get a full immersion in, and they were not trying to get you to hurry through the experience. So it was a really nice experience for me. So this day was just spent on Palais de Lomé, a really good place, and apparently the president had a view of the sea and a really beautiful park right outside the palace. Yeah, so that was that. And after that, we took a bike to go and get some souvenirs at the artisanal village where they sell the fridge magnets. There were some art pieces that I bought. This is basically where I got all my souvenirs from. And then we ended the day at Marcelo Beach. Marcelo Beach was right next to our hotel, the place where we were staying. So it was, that a place that gives you FOMO, because the only reason we ended up going to Marcelo Beach was because the night before we could hear the music from the other side. So we thought, why not go for lunch/dinner on this other side? Then we get there, it was just underwhelming. First of all, it was too crowded. The service took too long, but the food was good, and there was a live band, so not all bad. After Marcelo Beach, my friend went to sleep. I decided I'm not gonna sleep that early, and we still had the next day to chill. So, and we still had AFCON going on, so I decided to have a drink, have some food. As I had the local liquor, I asked specifically for local liquor because there is no way I'm going to a foreign country and still drink alcohol that I'm used to. So I asked what they had available, and the guy actually served me some local Togolese drink, which was basically just it's like local Jägermeister. It tasted like Jägermeister because it was fermented dates and a mixture of some wines, but it was really strong and really good. And then the last part of my tour is I felt like Togo and basically all the West African countries are more open towards sexuality, because we went to even the place where I was getting souvenirs, there were just key holders and everything shaped like I don't want YouTube to censor me, but you get what I mean. This like this last image in the video, like they are less conservative on matters sexuality. But anyway, Togo was fun. Come with me on the fourth leg of my tour. We're gonna be moving from Togo to Benin. Today we're gonna be on the fourth leg of my West African tour. I'm gonna be moving from Lomé in Togo to Cotonou in Benin. Benin was by far my favorite West African country, and you're gonna see why. It's a very, very beautiful country. From Togo to Benin, we used a private taxi. The only problem is that you have to wait for the taxi to get full, because in as much as it's a private taxi, you have to, unless you're hiring the entire car, you have to wait for other passengers to come and board with you guys. Cotonou is a proper bike city. Took a bike from Cotonou to our Airbnb. Our Airbnb was also a few meters from the beach, and it was really nice. We booked it last minute because we were just saying, like, there is no way you're gonna miss a booking in Benin. Like, not everyone is going to Benin for Christmas, so it was last minute, and we got a very, very beautiful apartment, and our host was also nice. Yeah. Another problem we had, just like in the other countries, was that we needed cash. The host insisted on us paying upfront, so we had to find an ATM because we don't have Momo. They call it Momo. Momo is their mobile money app, which we didn't have, so we needed to find an ATM and withdraw cash and pay for our Airbnb upfront in the late hours of the night. But it wasn't a problem because the guy was willing to take us. We were being hosted above a liquor store, and it was a really big liquor store. They seemed like wine collectors, so they had all sorts of wines from different parts of the world. They had a lot of alcohol that was not as overpriced as I thought it would be. And I had a chat with the owner of the place. He said that it was a bit chilled, which was very weird because it was on Christmas Eve and the place wasn't full at all, and there were no people buying alcohol or anything. The next day we went to find some food at a really cute restaurant. The ladies there were really nice. It was a fully female-owned business that we found on TikTok. Whether that's the power of TikTok. Like, we were just moving through. We didn't have a solid itinerary per se, so we were just searching things as we went. And this is a restaurant that we found recommended on TikTok. Tried it and it was really nice. From there we went to They call it the Venice of Africa. It's like a floating village. On the way there, we used a taxi, but we could see so many bikes, and it was really interesting because you could see even women riding the bikes with full-on kitenges. I don't know what the what the English word for kitenge would be, but it's the actual name, African name in Kenya that we use. Yeah, so that was interesting to see. We got to Ganzi. They were a bit pricey in negotiating prices, considering a language barrier. We needed to find an English translator because I couldn't understand what the guys were saying. And the first taxi guy took us to a wrong location, so we had to pay him extra to take us to the actual place where we can get a boat. And then we get there, they tell us that the village is mostly preserved for the residents of the village, so if you want to visit, you need to charter the entire boat and wait for other tourists to come and charter with you. So we just boarded, asked the guy if it's possible for us to get the boat just for photos and to have a little sail just close to the bank, close to the river bank here. So we didn't really get to the village itself, but you could see it from where we were standing. But the reason it's called a floating village, the Venice of Africa, it's because everything is built on water. So it's like a self-sufficient village on water. After that, we came back to Cotonou, and right opposite our Airbnb, there was a hotel where people were going for Christmas. The service was really slow considering it was Christmas Day, and I was expecting people to be bashing like from morning to evening, but it was really chilled. We went to the beach, spent the better part of the evening at the beach. We ordered for, I remember ordering for shawarma. The shawarma was really good, but it's kind of messed my stomach. But anyway, and they also didn't have alcoholic drinks, so we just had juice, and that was it for that day.
Try to tell lies, now I could spell them out if I still tried. Cause I don't care, as long as you're there, as long as you're there. Baby, we can do this all night. Keep on second guessing our love, oh love. I don't really care if you don't mind. Baby, we can do this all night. We can do it all night. We can do it all night. Baby, won't you hold tight, hold tight, hold tight. Guess we're pioneers, roaming around the atmosphere. I hate when you're not near, drifting away, drifting away. Keep missing you the days that you don't see me, like searching for a heart inside of my sheet. Sitting here forever, won't you hold me? Now won't you hold me? Oh, cause baby I try to tell lies. Now I could spell them out if I still tried. Cause I don't care, as long as you're there, as long as you're there.
Girls' night out. Merry Christmas. In the evening, we decided to go to the club. Also searched on TikTok the most recommended club in Cotonou, and people recommended Makumba. Makumba is a nightclub in the heart of Cotonou. When we went there, I think the one piece of information that I didn't have going to West Africa was that in West Africa, people start clubbing later into the night, like way later into the night. So us getting there by like 11 p.m. was too early, because we got there and people were just smoking shisha and the inside of the club was empty. And we've already dressed up. It's Christmas Eve. We're not gonna go back to our Airbnb, so the best we can do is drink and vibe to the music, and that's exactly what we did. We had different DJs coming in and out of their sessions. And surprisingly, we had some Kenyan music playing, which was really a really good vibe to be in. And then people started flocking in at like 2 a.m., 3 a.m. and by that time we were just tired. Yeah, but the club was fun later into the night. Danced the night away, and then of course getting some food after clubbing. And in this same restaurant outside the club, they were playing Kenyan music. Man, Kenyan music to the world. My heart, your waist. Oh, then we went back home. Going back home, we didn't have, as you may recall, I didn't have an internet connection, which was also the same case in Benin. So we had to get bikes. At least this one's had bikes everywhere, so you can get a bike to wherever you're going and at whatever time of night. So we took a bike from the club back to our Airbnb. The next day was Christmas Day, and this next part is the reason I probably considered Benin to be the most beautiful country I've ever been to. Like, it was just beautiful and pretty to look at and very clean. When we woke up, we decided to go to the statue. The statue is called the Amazon statue. It's like 30 meters tall, which is about 98 feet. Yeah, 98 feet. It's a statue in Cotonou. I think it was unveiled in 2022. And it's made of bronze. It's dedicated to the Dahomey Amazons, which was an all-female military regiment. So it's situated on the Boulevard de la Marina in Cotonou. It's really tall, but very catchy. Like, you can't pass by without noticing it. And then there was also the longest graffiti mural. I don't know if it's in Africa or in the world. I don't know. I'm not sure. It was mesmerizing. Like, I think the videos don't do it justice. It's just really colorful, really beautiful, and you can feel the African beauty, the African spirit in it. It was really nice walking through this. I felt like I was in Wakanda. You know, when we were watching Wakanda Forever, and then in the theaters, then all the stars by Caesar and Kendrick Lamar start playing, that's what I was feeling like walking through this wall. After that, we wanted to go to a mall, but most of the malls were closed for the holidays. So we ended up just finding a nice restaurant / hotel. It's called Ibis. It's in the heart of Cotonou, just a few meters from the hotel. The good thing is that, not from the hotel, from the mural. The good thing was that the statue and the mural are not far from each other, like it's a walking distance. And then we also walked to Ibis Hotel, which is not so far from it. The only problem is the sun. The heat was scorching hot. But we made it. Went to Ibis. It's also, I think it's a multinational hotel, and it was packed for Christmas, but the service was good. Had a glass of wine and some food before going back home. We managed to get the sunset. Got the sunset. It was really beautiful. And then the waiter who was serving me was actually Nigerian. I feel like anywhere you go and meet a Nigerian, you're just gonna be sorted, because I remember trying to pay by card and they didn't have network on their POS. So I was trying to tell them to find me a place where I can get cash, and the Nigerian is the one who was telling me that they had an ATM within the hotel. I wouldn't have known that if I hadn't met him. Of course, I had to get souvenirs before leaving. We took a bus from Benin back to Ghana. That trip was hectic, so stay tuned for the story on how that trip went. Yeah, so stay tuned for the next leg, part 5 of our trip, of my West African trip. So today I'm just going to dive right into the 5th leg of my trip, moving from Benin to Accra through Togo. Don't make the mistake I made. If you're going to enter Togo twice, you need to apply for a multiple entry visa instead of a single entry visa. Because what ended up happening was the bus ticket was covering the entire trip, but you have to stop at the border points, the Benin-Togo border and then the Togo-Accra border. So entering Togo from Benin is not a problem. The problem is leaving Togo, because they're gonna wonder like, why were you in the country with a single entry visa and you had already used it when you were coming from Ghana, you get. So we ended up spending too much time at the border, and the bus was waiting. People were angry. People were angry in the bus because they had to wait for us, and we ended up paying the cost of another visa technically. So it's just not worth the hassle. So I'm getting to Accra. Accra is the beautiful city. Our first stop was to do some touristic activities. So the first stop was at Osu Castle. When you get there, you're going to be assigned a tour guide, and they do it in groups. So if you've just arrived, you may find that there is another tour that is concluding, so you have to wait for another one to be assigned to you. And at the entrance, we paid, I think, 100 Ghana cedis. It was the castle used by the slave masters to ship slaves off to the Westlands. The story was very heartbreaking though. I remember there were people who were just crying the entire time. and we had some people of Ghanaian origin who are living in the US and the UK who were really angry about it, claiming that they should really be given reparations. Man, just get yourself to Ghana. You'll understand they have a really rich history, and once you visit the country, like, you understand why they were among the first African countries to gain independence. Like, that country is very resourceful. They have a lot. At the castle, you'll be given a history of what it was like for the slaves to live in the dungeons. There were overcrowded places, and once you're inside, you feel like you're suffocating, like there's not enough air for you to breathe. So you can imagine living in a dungeon with too many people in one place. There is no room for you to go to the washrooms. The women were kept in the dungeons, and if you were on your period, like, you just had to stand over the trenches until your period was over. So apparently some women just opted to be pregnant year over year, so you would be kept out of the dungeons. Heartbreaking, man. From there, we went to the Black Star, because it's like the signature Ghana monument that everyone has to go to. So of course I went there. It was raining, but I love standing in the rain, dancing in the rain. So I took some photos, met some strangers who invited us to a house party that we of course refused to go to. Yeah, and then in the evening we prepared for partying. We went to Polo Beach Club. Polo Beach Club is a very fancy establishment. Like, I remember getting there and I'm wondering, like, how are we supposed to afford this place? Anyway, we get there, they tell us that there was an entrance fee and we had to pay about 500 cedis. And then we get to the place, they tell us that you have to stand the entire night or buy a table. A table was gonna cost 50,000 Ghana cedis. Do you know how crazy that is? Then after that, we wanted to try out a club, but the club that we were directed to was at full capacity. So we ended up going at a local joint. At the local joint, people were just chilling, enjoying the music, drinking and vibing. Yeah. I remember leaving at some point to go get myself a Ghana jersey. I don't have a photo with it yet, but it was a bit cheaper to buy it in the market than at the airport, of course, and I needed one. Next day was Afrofuture Day, which was the entire purpose of this trip. I promise this trip was planned around Afrofuture. Most of the other destinations were just detours and side questing, but the entire purpose of this trip was to attend the Afrofuture Festival. Got to the festival, the entry point was seamless. We didn't have a very long queue to have us ticketed and get our wristbands. So that was very seamless and energy free, but there was a lot of walking. And there was a lot of traffic.
Let's go. Energy crew. Turn this shit up. Afrofuture.
To the left, to the right, to the front with me.
Go, yeah, yeah.
Go, yeah, yeah. Just how it goes. I know just how it goes. But I can't like my solo. Don't want no just leave me alone. Give me mine, give me mine.
Get down, fuck, get out my way.
I wanna get
terms of performances, we started with Molly. The only song I know by Molly is Shake It to the Max. I expected Ghanaians to hype their girl up because it's like a homecoming, but the crowd was a bit too quiet. I don't know, man. I don't know. For your own artist, you're supposed to hype her up. I don't know what happened with the Molly performance. And then after Molly, we had a little break. And there were some guys who were dancing, like we had a vibe with them and they were the only ones dancing. And then of course the main act was Ashake for the first night of Afrofuture Festival. It was really fun. The man was enjoying himself in the concert. Like it was almost like he's performing for us, but he's also performing for himself because he was vibing, he was dancing. I'm comparing this to the performance he had in Kenya, and the Afrofuture one was way better and the organization was way better. After Ashake, we had King Promise. King Promise also has some bangers. And then after King Promise, we had a dance crew to do the transition between King Promise and Kiddy. Kiddy also has some bangers. Like I was just listening to the songs. Some of them you can actually tell they are common songs, but you don't know who sang them. That's how good he is. And then after Kiddy, we had Marvel. I kid you not, there are people who flew in specifically to watch Marvel perform. Pardon my arrogance, but before this festival, I didn't know who Marvel was. The only thing I know is the song Escaladesi, and I didn't even know that was the name of the song. I only had it playing, and I was secretly hoping for him to bring out Whiskey, but then girl can only wish for too much. Yeah, that was the first night of Afrofuture Festival. After that, we had met some friends / acquaintances who were Ghanaian, but they had also flown in from different countries. They don't live in Ghana, but they had come in for Afrofuture. We went with them to the club. At the club, they were telling us that we had to pay an entrance fee of 500 Ghana cedis. In my head, I'm just thinking, are you mad? 500 Ghana cedis for club entry. Mind you, it was 5 a.m. so you're basically paying for 500 Ghana cedis to stay there for like 2 hours, and the sun is up. No way. So we just went and found some skewers. We call them shakikis in Kenya, and then went home. By the time we were getting home, it was like 7 in the morning. Yeah. Of Afrofuture, you guys, I was psyching myself up. We were so tired because we had gotten to our B&B in the morning, just took a nap, and then needed to find food. Yeah, so we get there. We had a performance by TXC, that she's an amapiano DJ, and they had like a full set of dancing. I don't know how South Africans don't get tired dancing. I think I got tired at some point. We were waiting for Rema for a hot minute because he took a while to come to stage at like 2:30 in the morning. And by this time I was tired. I think I watched the performance for maybe just 20 minutes and my legs gave in, like my feet were swollen. Comparing night 1 to night 2, I think night 2 was more energetic, night 1 was more fun. For me at least, because I had a vibe. I met some people, I met some new people that I'm still in touch with. And that was it for my Ghana trip, specifically for the Afrofuture Festival. The next leg of my trip is gonna be in Lagos, Nigeria, which is the last country on this trip, so stay tuned. I hope you've enjoyed the series so far. This is going to be the last leg of my West African tour. I'm going to be moving from Ghana to Lagos. I used a flight for this one. By the time I was getting to Lagos, I was super duper tired, so this is going to be a very short video. From Ghana to Lagos, we just took an Uber straight to the airport, and the airline we used was Air Peace. So in terms of visa requirements, yes, you need a visa for Nigeria. I don't know why they do that. And it was one of the most expensive visas in West Africa. And besides the visa, you also need an entry card and when entering the country, and an exit card when exiting the country. So we applied for the entry card at the airport. It's a very seamless process. The only challenge we had was that you have to select your flight from the list, and it wasn't there, so you have to go back and ask the cabin crew or the ticketing guys to help you pick one. And since our flight was at night and we ended up getting to Lagos the next day, you basically have to apply for a fresh one. I don't know why that happens. It's like the entry card is valid for only 24 hours. We checked for an Uber at the airport. The price was about 35,000 naira, but the guy was really far. Like on ordering, we're being told it was about 30 minutes away. So we just tried to negotiate with the airport taxis, and it ended up being twice the price. But anyway, by that point you're tired, so you really have nothing much to do. Negotiated, and found a reasonable driver. He helped us carry our luggage. The trip to our booking was not very long. The only problem was that this hotel does not have a good management system to sync bookings done on call, bookings done via booking.com, and anything else. I feel like the lady at the reception was just arrogant, because we had done our booking via booking.com, and then we get there, she just immediately tells us that all the rooms are booked without even checking. She didn't even ask for our names, our passports, our booking reference, or anything. She just immediately told us that all the rooms were fully booked. So I'm like, it's 2 a.m. Where do you expect us to go? So I had to get myself some Nigerian jollof rice, because I have to do the comparison between Ghanaian and Nigerian jollof rice. In my opinion, I don't want to say one is better than the other, but they seem kind of different. The Ghanaian one has more vegetables. The Nigerian one has more pepper. That's the main difference. The next day, it was gonna be the last day of my trip, so I did a solo dinner. I dressed up for New Year's Eve. I just checked TikTok again for ideas on where there was gonna be a fireworks show. I can't remember the name of the place, but I'll find it and pin it in the description. To Eco Hotel. Eco Hotel was really nice, and it was really big. I think Eco Hotel is also a franchise, because we had multinationals at that place, different events happening, and they also had a cultural center where I ended up doing my shopping at. Of course, fridge magnets, there were bags, there were jewelry. I got my friends some jewelry. Yeah, so a lot of things. I basically spent the entire day at that hotel just walking around and talking to the people. Like, people are really friendly, talkative. There was a guy who was telling me that he had been working at the cultural center inside Eco Hotel for about 15 years. So that was a really interesting conversation. And somehow, despite Lagos being the last city that I went to, it ended up being the most expensive one. It's the place where I spent most of my money on this trip. Power of the tongue. They really know how to entice you, how to convince you to buy things that you didn't even plan on buying. After that, I did the solo dinner. I ordered plantain. Oh my god, I love plantain. Love it. So I ordered plantain, and then the chef actually offered to take some photos of me. As I took photos of my food, I had plantain, jollof rice, and it was some seafood stew. Yeah, primarily made of shrimp and calamari. And on the side I had pineapple juice, because by this point I just wanted to be healthy. I've been drinking for a very long time, because the entire trip took about 2 weeks, and I was ready to go home. The next day I had reserved my Uber, because I wasn't sure whether they were going to be available in the morning and end up being overcharged for an airport taxi. So I just reserved my Uber on the actual Uber app, and my driver was there on time. Again, lights went off. Nigeria, why are you like this? I did some shopping at the airport as well, shopping for my dad. I did some shopping for my brother and my mom for some fabric. And then it was time to go back home.